Hey everybody, it's Rob from Flailthroughs. This is Gundam Battle Operation 2, and this is a guest video from AlwaysShipper, who is in the Gacha in the derelict space colony. I think that's the right name? Space Colony Ruins? I can't remember, but I can't remember much of anything because I've been up a good while and I had to get up early with 4 non-consecutive hours of sleep because my dad had his doctor's appointment that I had to get him to. So that is where the brain went. I am going to be even more incoherent than usual, so hopefully entertainingly so, no promises. But yeah, Gacha is a peasant mobile suit. It is basically, what if we take this Zagok frame and make it into a space-worthy suit, which, again, since water, has a lot more atmospheric pressure than space, as the old Futurama bit goes, yeah, it should be fairly hardy. Just took something out with the missiles. The missiles on the Gacha are still great. They reload relatively quickly. They can be fired while boosting. It is a fantastic thing. And hammer gun is, for one thing, ridiculous, and for another, causes heavy stagger. So yeah, between that and the claws, it has got a fun set of weapons. It's one of those fairly straightforward suits that is just a lot of fun to use. Let's see, Shipper stopped the Draw C with the hammer gun, and he and the high boost Jim were kind of fighting over the kill a little bit. That happens when you have two things that are really predisposed to melee working on the same target in space. As you might imagine, 3 dimensions does make the whole, not hitting each other thing even harder. That said, like I like to remind people, yeah, because most neutral swings, at least, and frequently down swings as well, have at least some vertical component to them. You can just get underneath somebody and, just bash their foot with your beam saber claws or whatever, and stop them without exposing yourself to very much risk. It's, if somebody knows their downswing qualities and ranges particularly well, you may be in trouble. But yeah, generally you can since neutrals are more conducive to vertical and downswing, up and downswings are down, you can generally hit things above you easier than below you. So, again, does reduce risk if you're trying to get in for melee and do some decent damage. And man, I think that was basically coherent. And yeah, I feel like I should get a medal for that, but we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, the good news is the appointment went really well. My dad's circulation is still really good, which for a 75-year-old man who's been diabetic for at least 30 years, I think that's a pretty good accomplishment. So, yeah, the most important thing is that essentially indicates that there will be feet for a good time to come, if, hopefully for the rest of his life. But just, yeah, the kind of thing you do worry about. He got told by some doctor like 20 years ago, if you don't stop smoking, we're going to be cutting your feet off in a couple of years. Obviously, he did stop smoking for a long time, and the feet, remain. Oh, I am in full-on blather mode, and I am sorry. But, like I said, not a lot in the way of the sleep. The brain meats are just gone. Yep, that is the Zaki Stutzer. Managed to evade the claws twice. Somebody else got the kill. But, yeah, I am... like I said, I haven't run the Gacha in forever, but I do still really enjoy it. Like I said, I'm a sucker for anything where you can fire the missiles while boosting, just because, again, being able to fire while boosting is just, I feel like that should really be a core characteristic of mobile suits. Mobile suits are designed for mobility, like the name would suggest, and they are, basically designed for fast attack and retreat against originally, of course, against battleships, but eventually against other mobile suits. So yeah, that is that's the primary thing. That's kind of where they start fudging things with the timeline, where the Zaku is called out at various points as the first mobile suit, but is predated by the gun tank and gun cannon. This, the idea being, and Gundam the Origin taking real advantage of this, that at some point it advances in the how do I describe it? In the movement mechanisms for mobile suits were improved to the point where they just became much more useful on a much broader scale. But, brain is gone. 2 minutes left. 74:15 to 33:05. Those are some good looking numbers, and yeah, Shipper's been doing really well. Yeah, the Derelict Colony, I think, is a pretty good map. I still, man, I'm trying to think what my favorite and the least favorite space maps are. It can often be a bad time, but I really do enjoy Dark Space just because it's big and open, which is kind of, I feel like, a space thing. You know, this is a little, you know, this is a more contained and easier to keep your team together. Then there is, of course, Space Fortress Interior, which is even more contained. And yeah, that was, man, I hope the noise gate takes that big click out from my ankle. But yeah, I like some of the wide open maps. I never have quite gotten comfortable with Resource Satellite. I've had some okay rounds there, but I have a really hard time just feeling like I'm doing well there, even if I am. So that's, and the rest of them are definitely maps. I feel like we're probably due for a new space map sometime soon. I would not mind that. I feel like since most people still more or less, I think, play ground, we've come to focus almost entirely on new ground maps, and there's again still ones from GBO1 I'd like to see come back. I've said it before, but just I feel like the mines could be really interesting now. They were torture in GBO1, but in GBO2, I think because there's so many different methods of mobility and ways to get out of that, get off of those hillsides, that you could really have a much more interesting time of it than ever happened in GBO1. Because yeah, the mines were just, oh man, it was one of those things where whoever got the high ground first won, and it was just a really rough time. But like I said, now that we have things that fly and transform and all those things, I think it could be really different. Also, they could obviously rework the map to be a little bit better. So, yeah, okay, it looks like the High Boost Jim got top score, but Shipper got 7 and 3 and 109,000 damage, and that is really good at 350. So, thank you for sending this my way, Shipper. I really appreciate it. And that is going to do it for today's Gundam Battle Operation 2. We will be back soon with more, and hopefully I will be better rested and more coherent. So until next time, everybody take care and have fun. Later! So I think I mentioned before that I got Missing Link Optimus Prime, which is just straight up the original toy with extra articulation added, down to the point where it actually comes in a styrofoam tray like the original toy. Just wonderfully nostalgically, environmentally unsound. But it turns out Hasbro announced there's also going to be a G1 Optimus Prime toy inspired figure in this year's Generations Legacy Deluxes. And, you know, it's the difference between a $20 some dollar toy and an $80 some toy. This is definitely not an exact copy of the original, but they got really close, I feel, for the price point. I actually think it looks pretty good, and since I'm one of those weirdos who will, buy a bunch of different RX-78s to see which version I like best, or listen to bunch of different versions of the same song to see which one I like the most. I think I'm going to have to get that. It looks good.